Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of El Local. Welcome to season 3 premiere of El Local. And today I have David Zamora joining me. Welcome, David.
Thank you for having me.
So, David, you are a artist, entrepreneur. You have a business, and you're a member of the community here in Watsonville. So, I want to jump straight into your background growing up. Born and raised in Watsonville?
Born and raised in Watsonville, first generation.
Awesome. Take me through that. Give me a little bit of background of your family, being a first generation Mexican American here in the United States.
Well, I was born in Watsonville, born and raised in Las Lomas. So my parents work in the field, so I had a very Mexican background. Growing up, your parents didn't get to cuide, so you had to stay at the house, watch movies, just hang out with the rest of the kids. We didn't have babysitters, so kind of the older kids were the babysitters.
Oh, yeah.
So jugamos basketball, soccer, whatever it was, but just to get throughout the day. But I grew up in Las Lomas, and I think before I went to high school, I moved to Green Valley, and it was like a different scenery for me. Because Las Lomas is very, hay caballos, it was a lot of dirt, it was a lot of, como por gente de Mexico, de Gómez.
Yeah.
Or de La Guarucha. And then I came to Green Valley, and it's more like, whoa, there's a Jack in the Box, there's an Applebee's, so it's más como ciudad para mí.
So you're like in the outskirts, kind of like rancho. It's all rancho, and
it was like rancho, peleando gallos, all that stuff, you know. And you come to Green Valley, acá in Watsonville, and it's just like you're seeing El Theater, you're seeing all the cool stuff we wish we had in the Lomas, but all we had was like La Market or La Hosco. That's all like we have. Y acá you have everything. So it took me a while to get used to it, but then eventually, well, you adapt, you know.
Yeah.
But it was a cool change, and from changing you get like a different perspective of other people's como viven.
Mm-hmm.
So it was cool. Pero yeah, for the most part, I had a very. You think you have an original experience until you see social media.
Mm-hmm.
Say everybody has a like similar lifestyle, you know, como naciste. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, I don't know.
And that's crazy that you say that because Watsonville, Las Lomas is like what, like 5 miles? If even that. And to say that it's a culture shock to be from moving to outside of the city to inside the city.
Yeah.
That's an interesting take.
Yeah.
Because you would think like, hey, people come into the city, right?
Yeah.
People come into the city, to buy stuff, this and that. But like, it's like a whole new world.
Yeah. Como for example, I had cousins that lived like in Estrellas and they had a pool.
Mm-hmm.
They were like, oh, what? They have a pool. So I would get to come like once in a great while que me traen a las albercas. And in the Lomas, there's no pools. So our pools, lo que hacíamos, would take out the recycling bins, clean them up really nice, and fill it up with water and just kick it inside the trash can. That was our pool because we were just kids, or the little blue ones.
Oh yeah.
But besides that, like that's all we had in Las Lomas. But so coming over here, and then I lived behind Applebee's, so then we had a pool, and then it became like whoa, like 2 years ago I was chilling inside a trash can, nomás como kicking it with my friends. But stuff like that is just like a big culture shock when you're little.
Yeah.
Like 12, 10 years old, you know?
Do you think, or did moving from outside of city limits to into the city limits kind of change your perspective in the sense like of being a kid, right? Because you're kind of like free-spirited, right? You say you're out there. And did that switch over kind of change you as a kid?
I think that changed me a little bit. Like, for example, like when we used to live in the Lomas, and we all skated in the early 2000s. The skating was in, but it's all dirt. There's only like a couple streets that had cement, and that was like the only spot for us to skate. But sometimes one of our parents or one of my friends' parents were like, "Hey, you want to go to the skate park here in Ramsey?" So it was like to go to the Ramsey Park was like the biggest thing ever. But yeah, when you live on this side, you can just literally walk to it. Mm-hmm. So for us to come over here was just like, it sounds not that cool right now, but in the early 2000s. To come over here was like to skate or to hit the rails or cosas como stairs, cosas así was just for us was like just like a dream we saw in movies. Loma sounds like it's so far away, but it's just like 4 miles that way.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's crazy because I've heard of stories like that too, like of people just live so close, for example, people that live like in South Monterey County,
Uh-huh.
I heard a story that like Gonzalez sold dad, they live out there, but they've never been to the beach.
Mm-hmm.
There's like adults that have never been to the beach. It's like, whoa, and the stories of just going to the beach for the first time as like a 24-year-old,
Yeah.
and it's like a culture shock.
Yeah,
So
yeah,
like I
yeah.
could imagine that feeling of like, whoa, experience something even being so close to you
Yeah.
and not having access to it, but just now having access to it, it's like, whoa, it's like, what is this?
Yeah. And luego más cuando tienes, if you have cousins in San Jose, then you go to San Jose and it's just like a bigger, like, whoa, that's like a city. That's like movie city.
Yeah.
You know? So, but then when you grow up, you see like it's not that crazy. But when you're little, everything seems kind of like whoa. So, yeah, that was kind of like for me the biggest change.
Yeah.
Moving from here to Watsonville. But now that I've been here since I was in Watsonville since I was 12, yeah, even though Lomas is still Watsonville, it did really change like the way I spoke. Like in Lomas, I mostly spoke Spanish. I grew up speaking Spanish, English just here and there. And yeah, when I moved to Green Valley, I was pushed to speak English more because we were playing basketball like in Apple Hill. We go to all the areas we play basketball or football, and then you had to pick up English.
Yeah.
To know like you wouldn't be able to communicate, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was cool.
That learning how to speak English, was it a hard transition for you?
It was. I think for movies and TVs, it helped me a lot. To this day, I still speak very Spanglish.
Mm-hmm.
So sometimes when I'm talking to people and I'm like, you know Spanish, because I tend to like go back and forth.
Yeah.
But my English is still not that great, but it helps me a lot. But I never really changed the way I speak. I wish I can get better at it, but for the most part, I don't know. I think Spanglish is really hard to get out of me.
Yeah. But you get the best of both worlds, and it's coming out and translating how you feel. I mean,
yeah,
it's its own thing. It's a language.
Yeah.
I just say it's a language.
Yeah. But yeah.
Growing up, I mean, Watsonville's changed a lot. I mean, a lot. So, what's been one of the most significant changes that you've seen throughout your years that are just like, wow, like, I missed that, or dang, that used to be there?
Yeah. For the most part, I think Watsonville still kind of looks the same. I work in Salinas, and I work in the roofing industry. So they're constantly building like a Cane's, an Angry Chicken, In-N-Out. They're constantly they're building a 2-story buffet. Like they're just constantly building things. And I can't think of the last big thing they built in Watsonville besides like Applebee's or like Yogurtland.
You're right, Target.
Target, yeah, like no visto nada como grande that can be like, oh, it's a change. So I feel like if I drive down through like Main Street or Freedom, for the most part, everything looks kind of similar.
Yeah.
And the only thing that's changed is my age. So obviously, the older you get out of the loop.
Yeah.
So you're no younger a kid. So with todos los kids are doing their thing and with their trucks, their cars. I did it too, and I get it. But now I'm at an age where like when you're in it, it's cool. But when you get older, you como que te enfadas. Like, oh, okay, that's more like a younger thing, So for the most part, Watsonville is the same. I'm just getting older, I guess.
Yeah. Your interests and your likes and everything are changing.
Yeah. Refining a little bit more.
Yeah.
I was really into JDM cars, the cool cars, and now I'm more into lowriders.
Yeah.
Or I was more into this kind of music, and now I'm into more like slower music or even older Spanish music, So I think the older you get, you change a little bit, but you can't take away from the young people that this is what's in right now,
Yeah. No, for sure. Getting into David as an artist, you recently started getting into art, right?
Yeah.
Before you got into art, what were you doing? Were you doing anything that kind of led you to art, or were you just what were your hobbies? What kind of like, I guess, pointed you to the direction of becoming an artist?
So if I were to go back from when we used to live in Las Lomas, a lot of us didn't have a lot, but we were so into like WWF, like that was our jam in the 90s.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
So a lot of us always wanted to have those nice belts, and we'd just see them and admire them, So un día agarré una box de la pizza mía,
Uh-huh.
and I cut a circle, and then I got a separate white paper that I stole from school, and then I just drew the belt on it, like colored it todo, and I glued it on the box, made the strips for the belt. I made a intercontinental one,
Uh-huh.
and two hardcore ones, and a tag team.
Nice.
And then people around the area in Loma would wrestle for him. And if you were to win, you would keep it, but the next day you have to.
Yeah, yeah.
So I made our own belts. So I was always kind of like making things out of nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I think because growing up, like, como say I wanted some Jordans. My dad played basketball and stuff like that, so he was aware of a lot of shoes, but he couldn't buy me those shoes. So he was always resourceful. So he iba a la flea market. He knew what he saw. He saw Jordan 3, los agarraba, los limpiaba, me los dejaba brand new. And now I had Jordan 3s, pero mi dad los agarraba como $10.
Yeah.
Pero los dejaba nuevecitos, you know? But so since a little kid, I think I learned to be resourceful, and I was always really creative. And when I graduated high school, I had no idea what I wanted to do. I was a DEC student, 2.0 student. I barely graduated. So when I graduated, everybody was going to cool colleges. I didn't know what I wanted to do, so I just enrolled to Cabrillo. When I enrolled to Cabrillo, I enrolled for art. So I did a couple of years of art.
Yeah.
I was doing good. So I was doing murals in my own house. I used to live in my parents' garage. So lo tenía todo like covered in murals.
Yeah.
It was back in '06. So '07, '06, I had my garage full of murals. I was going to school for art and everything. But then I sat with one of the counselors and me preguntó like, hey, so like what do you want to do with art? Like you want to do this or that? And I'm like, I don't know. I just want to paint.
Yeah.
And he's like, well, there's no money in that if you have to be able to sell your stuff. And then I'm like, so what do you suggest? And he's like, what else do you like to do? And I'm like, well, I like to work out. And he goes, well, do you want to do like personal training or do you want to do a PE teacher? And he was going this whole rundown. Pretty much if I wanted to be a PE teacher, I still had to like take the courses of like kinesiology and all those cool things. And I'm like, oh. And then we settled down for a computer engineer. So then I switched over to computer engineer, did it for a half semester, didn't have interest for it. I dropped out, and then I was still painting, and then I just decided to just stop painting in general. Like back in I stopped in '09 painting and everything, and I just got to a job. I was working at the Boardwalk. I was working at FedEx. I was working at Kmart. So I just decided just to go into the working field. So and then fast forward to the pandemic, I was living in LA and then Turlock, and then I moved back to Watsonville in the pandemic in 2020. And we were all locked in. And my mom was like, hey, ahí tienes tus boxes de pintura cuando pintabas antes. You should start painting para que te distraigas. Like, all right. So I started painting. And then I started painting on some jackets. And then some of my friends liked it. And I started off with just doing jackets for my friends. Or I would wear them. And if people would like them, se los regalaba. You know, like, because if you like my art, well, you can have it. And it started like that. Then from that, I went to canvases, making my own canvases. And then fast forward till today, that's still what I've been doing.
Yeah. I want to go back to living in LA. So what took you out of Watsonville?
I was in a relationship at the time, pero we moved to LA for that thing. Pero then I moved to Turlock to work with one of my close friends, con Roberto.
Mm-hmm.
And it was going well and everything, but then the pandemic hit, and then it was like a big hit for everybody.
Yeah.
So then I moved back to my parents' house, but after like 3 months, I was able to get my own place because I got a job in Salinas. But living in Turlock, living in LA, Gustine, all those areas, it's a big change compared to Watsonville. It's a faster pace, slower pace.
Did it kind of remind you of home a little bit? Because I know those areas are heavily populated in Latino, Mexican American culture.
LA is very different. It's very diverse. So sometimes, como aquí, I'm so used to telling people like, oh, what part of Mexico are you from? And they're like, oh, Jalisco, oh, Guadalajara, oh, Michoacan, oh, Sinaloa, you name it, right? But in LA, a guy used to say, oh, what part of Mexico are you from? And they're like, I'm from El Salvador. And I'm like, oh, what part of Mexico are you from? Oh, I'm from Honduras. And I'm like, oh. So then I stopped doing that because it turns out that everybody's different.
From everywhere, yeah.
Yeah, you get de todo, you know? So then you get used to a lot of like, I made friends everywhere, like East LA, South, Central, and everybody's different. LA's small, but it's huge at one point. Mm-hmm. And when I went to Turlock's the same. It's kind of like Watsonville, but it's kind of like Salinas in a sense.
Yeah.
So it's kind of the same. But LA and San Francisco, I think they're faster. I think because they're so diverse and you
Yeah.
get different angles from different kind of people, you know?
Yeah, yeah. So you moved back after all that, and did you pick it up the brush right away? Did you start, right away? Because I remember during the pandemic, it's like, what do you do,
Uh-huh.
right? And it's funny how like all these stories that I talk about people revolve around the pandemic,
Yeah.
and it's just like, because I remember even doing this, like I just sat there for months, you know,
Yeah.
and for some people it just came easy to do something, and others it just kind of like it took time.
Yeah.
So where did that leave you? Like, was it easy for you? Did you jump right on it right away, or how did you handle being locked down and just not being able to do anything?
I think the hardest part was not being able to go to the gym, and obviously moving back to your parents' house with like plastic bags. So you have all your stuff in your mom's storage. You're sleeping in in the sofa, and you're just kind of like back to square one. And there's no gym to kind of get rid of that,
Anxiety, the
anxiety, the
stress.
stress and stuff. So I got into running. So I was running. I hated running. Cardio was like my enemy. I started with a mile, started with two, and then like a month in, I was running like 10 miles a day. But it seems like a lot. But it's not a lot when you have nothing to do.
Yeah.
So I was running like 10 miles a day, and then a lot of my friends we were into running. So we got the apps. We started like getting into running and stuff like that. So it was fun. So it was a cool distraction. It was a good way for me to escape. And then when I would get home, you still have the rest of the day. So then I just would I think when I would go running, I was really into music. I'm still really into music, and as I'm running, I get a lot of ideas. So when I get home, I'm just excited to paint. So that was a cool thing that I was able to go outside and get some fresh air and kind of like restart. And yeah.
Okay. And so you start painting.
Uh huh.
You say you're doing jackets, and you're just kind of just uh, if people like them, you're giving away all this stuff. Uh, what were you painting? What were you drawing at first? Like, what was your I guess your style starting off?
Yeah, I think if it's still the same. I believe it's more like a mixture of like Diego Rivera, like Pollock. It's very abstract, but at the same time, it's not very realistic. Like it looks like Diego Rivera is very cartoonish in a sense. It's
Mm-hmm.
not crazy realistic, but it has enough for you to know what it is. And then I love abstract, but sometimes abstract can be like, oh, a kid can do that.
Yeah.
But if you kind of combine both of like a lot of color, a lot of kind of symmetry, it kind of gives it more depth to the. I'm just trying to mix a mixture of Chicano, Mexican, Americanized kind of sense just to put
Yeah.
it all together. So I was doing a lot of like Chicano style. Like I was doing a lot of Fridas, obviously a lot of Virgin Marys. That's like
Mm-hmm.
Virgen de Guadalupe is what I do the most. I just when I see it, it's just kind of crazy to think because sometimes I sit down and I'm trying to draw something, and it's just you stare at a blank paper. You don't know what to draw. Like
Yeah.
where do we start? But I just think back of like whoever drew or saw the Virgin Mary and was able to draw it, like all those colors, all those
Mm-hmm.
combinations. It's just like it's amazing to me that somebody even came up with that or just even
Yeah.
saw that. So when I draw the Virgin Mary, it can be drawn in pink, purple, yellow. It don't matter what color it is. I think it's always beautiful the way it looks, and I think that's why I always draw it.
Yeah.
I just think it's a beautiful piece.
And when you started drawing, um, where did you where did you get your oh my gosh, blanked out right now. Your motivation, your inspiration, right? You said that one artist, Diego Rivera, kind of inspired you a little bit, but like, um, you come in and you're sitting at like on a blank
Mm-hmm.
page. What kind of what sets you in the mood to just start going?
Mostly it's music. Uh, for me, music is everything when it comes to if I'm in the gym and I feel a certain way, I go in that vibe. So I put
Mm-hmm.
myself in that setting when it comes to music. And when I'm painting, I can go from listening to old Spanish music to oldies to corn. It goes to rap. It goes to I'm all over the place
Yeah.
when it comes to music. Just in that moment, whatever is triggering that sensation of me, it helps me. And as far as like growing up, I was always around my dad. So he would play basketball,
Yeah.
and he would bring me around his friends, and they're playing basketball. You see these guys with tattoos. You see just the culture, and you're just a little kid, and just you look at them, and then you see the old school murals. There's some here like La Mona Lisa still has those old school looking murals. There's some by Main Street, and I've always loved those like in San Diego they have the Chicano Park.
Yeah.
Like I love those collages of art just put together. I think it's beautiful. So growing up, I always admired those kind of murals. So one day I want to kind of simulate that style, but in my own way. I'm still learning. Like a lot of the things that I do, I just kind of like freestyle.
Yeah.
Like I don't know how to do realism. I don't know how to do hands. There's a lot of things I can't do, but what I can do, I me la viento. You know, like I try my best.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
Would you say that like every different kind of genre of music kind of produces a different piece of art? Like if you're listening to rap, like the style, the way your art comes out is like you see it's a certain style compared to like maybe you're listening to rock. And that style kind of flows.
Yeah.
Is there different outcomes to every genre of music that you listen to when you're painting?
Yeah, it does. For the most part, I narrowed it down to the style that I kind of stick the most. Like Sade, for me, that kind of anything that's like Sade, Snow Allegra, like very low vibration, kind of slow music. It's what kind of gets me in the mood. But if I play like Korn or I'm playing like Slipknot or anything like this, okay, it makes you want to go faster. It makes you. Or if I play Pink Floyd, it mellows me down. Like I'm the type of guy that if I make a post, just believe that it takes me 30 minutes to pick a song. Because I'm trying to match the energy.
Yeah.
Like I'm that guy. Or like anything that I do, I try to match as much as I can for it to kind of, because you're the viewer, and when you see it, like I don't want to put a picture of like me doing push-ups con una canción. It doesn't go or too corny, or like I'm so into my own head.
Some Taylor Swift.
Yeah, like I just wanted to. If I'm being funny, I'll do that, you know.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I try to match vibes and energy just so it kind of makes sense to the viewer.
Yeah.
So you kind of create your own brand in a sense, like, oh, that's kind of the way he shoots, you know.
Mm. Yeah. How much of an influence is your culture in your artwork?
I would say like maybe like 100% of it of my inspiration is my culture. Even when I do my events, like I've done so many things that remind me of growing up. My first time that I released my brand in 2023, I created this paletero cart. I pinstriped it. And then I didn't want to sit there and just sell my shirts, so I put all the shirts in bags with like a paleta. So when you bought the shirt, you got it out of a paletero cart.
Yeah.
So it's kind of nostalgic for people. Then Valentine's, I set up my booth to look like a flower shop. So then I would get the shirts, put them in the flowers, and you would get a ramo de flores. The last one that I did a whole Marqueta de Mexico. So you walked in, there was duvalines, mazapanes, you name it. So it felt like you were walking into a Mexican store in Mexico, and you would buy my shirt from there. So it just kind of, anything that I do, I wanted to give you nostalgia. Because I'm a big thrifter. So if you go to my house, I think I'm becoming a hoarder because I have so many things. I have like over like 50 old cameras. I have like so many vinyls, and then it goes from one collection to another. Like I'm always just picking up like things that remind me from like toys, movies, like games, and I just have them just because when I have them around, when I got my place, I had it all white. Like I was gonna keep it all simple, but when I walked in, I didn't get a lot of motivation. So yeah, well, the house, yes, it was clean, but it wasn't me.
Yeah.
But as soon as I started putting more color up, more of my own paintings up, when I would sit down, I would look around, and like it would get me to do more paintings or to get more creative. Or I would have all my VHSs lined up, and then I would see them like, oh, I haven't seen Top Gun in a while, for example, and I'll throw it on.
Yeah.
And somehow that movie reminds me of something from when I saw it when I was a little kid, and it kind of goes like this. So I think nostalgia for me is like a big thing. So it can kind of bring me back to maybe something that I forgot, and then I can bring it back to life in a painting or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Or even one of my art pieces or my clothes. You
know? And not just for you, but like, why do you think nostalgia is important, and not just in art, but just I guess in our culture? You know, why is it important?
I think nostalgia is really important because sometimes I think we grow up too fast and we're always working and we forget of how it was to be a kid. So there's been times where people go to my house and they'll see like a toy, the Buzz Lightyear or Woody, and they're like, oh, I had this when I was 5.
Yeah.
Or they'll see all my VHSs or my VHS setup. And they're like, dude, I had all these movies when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And you can see the spark in their eye. So sometimes I have those things around my house just so I can get that spark. And I feel like sometimes we get older, you're like, son pa kids.
Yeah.
Even when I, like my name, it says DC2 Rebel. It was DC because DC2 is a car, it's an Integra. So when I see, I don't have those cars anymore, but when I see an Integra, like I still get that nostalgia feeling like I used to love those cars.
Yeah.
And it's my name on Instagram, you know? So nostalgia is I'm for sure when I'm 50 and I see an Integra, I'm still gonna feel like, oh, I still have that love for an Integra. Even though it's like, might not be the craziest, most expensive car, but it was like my car during the time, you know?
That's funny because my first car was an Integra. It was an Acura Integra. It was cool because it's a 4-door, you know, and those they didn't have those in 4 doors a lot. You know, it was all 2 doors.
Yeah.
And so every time I see one driving around, I was like, damn, dude. Yeah. I Google because you could like search yourself up and like, you know, public information. So I'm like, I wonder where it's at. So I started searching for my Integra.
A side quest on Google.
And actually, I found it one time. It was at this junkyard up in like Modesto area, you know. And I'm thinking, man, it's probably just, you know, it's probably just sitting there. But one day when I make it, I'll go buy it and just restore it.
Just to have it, just to have it.
Yeah.
And it's cool. It's a cool thing to have. Like growing up, my dad had a Regal, and the Regal is like a Buick Regal is one of my favorite cars, outside of like the stuff that I like. And a goal for me to have is to have my own Regal.
Yeah.
And every time I see it, I just remember my dad having it and like how cool he was, and how cool I thought he was having it. So I wish I had a Regal growing up. But right now they're so valuable that it's so hard to find those cars. Yeah. But maybe one day, like I'll let it happen organically. If it comes towards me, I'll have one.
Yeah.
But stuff like that's why nostalgia for me is just very important.
Yeah.
You know, it just kind of takes you back.
Yeah, I think that's important. I think what as consumers, right? And I think it's a good marketing strategy, right? Is you sell nostalgia, right? And then when you sell nostalgia, I mean, all those memories come back and everything comes back, and then it's just like we want to be transported back to that moment in time where we're just carefree.
Yeah.
You know, where we're just you're cutting up the pizza Mia box and making a bell. Like that's what we want.
Yeah.
You know, because you know you're right. Like we grew up too fast and things kind of move around, and it's just like, dude, like we lose that essence of kid.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a very important thing to do moving forward with anyone that does marketing or business or anything. Just sell nostalgia.
Were you born and raised in Watsonville as well?
I was born and raised in Watsonville. Yeah, so I was born here. I grew up those apartments, by local park, River Park.
Okay.
Yeah,
we played football there también.
Yeah. I was there. I grew up there. Grew up on 2nd Street. Still there. Yeah. And then so it was easy for me just to walk downtown.
Yeah.
You know, parents were farm workers. So there was a lot of memories growing up in the fields.
Yeah.
And so born and raised aquí también.
And you went to Watsonville High? You went to Aptos?
I did. I went to Aptos.
Okay.
Yeah. So my dad worked for the school district. After the floods in the 90s, he got wiped out, and so he was looking for a job, and he found a job working for the school district as a campus security. And so he took that job, and so he kind of got established in Aptos. And so for him, it was easier to, you know, take us to school over there and him be around. Just in case something were to happen, he had to drive all the way back to Watsonville. At least he's close by. Yeah. So that's where I ended up going. I went to Valencia for 5th and 6th grade. I went to Aptos Junior, Aptos High, and that's where I went. So
let me ask you, because I went to Watsonville all 4 years. So for the most part, Watsonville is mainly Mexican. And then I had friends who went, because I lived behind Applebee's, so most of my friends had to go to Aptos. And they would always talk about how hard it was to go for them to go to Aptos, because it's half and half. Like there's more Caucasian students. Was it harder or was it the same?
So for me,
what school? What year did you graduate?
08.
08? Okay.
Yeah. What year did you?
06.
06. Okay. So for me, growing up, going there, it was I played sports, so I had that outlet, that way to connect with others.
Yeah.
I did experience some prejudice, you know, because being Mexican and being in an all prominent white school, you kind of got this sense of like you're not as good, right? Like people were better than you, and there was a lot of times where people, white kids were privileged and they got away with things and they were able to get a little bit more opportunities. But I never let that kind of deter me because, like I said, for me, my biggest thing was playing sports and playing football, and so that was my outlet. That was my way to strive and succeed. There was moments that I experienced where, for example, it was one of those celebrations, the Cinco de Mayo or the Independencia de
September
Mexico,
16th.
16, yeah, where we got a little celebration, one of the clubs, right? And they were sell food and everything, and it was cool.
Yeah.
But these kids who were my teammates, white kids, would walk around with the Confederate flag.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So kind of stuff like that, they kind of triggered, and the school's whole thing was, well, they're not doing anything wrong.
Yeah.
They're not harming anyone, but it's clearly like it's in a way it's like an attack.
Yeah.
So kind of that kind of thing, I experienced a little bit of it.
Yeah.
But if anything, what I experienced the most and kind of was hurt the most was the backlash I got from Mexicans, right? You ever see that movie, that Selena movie, right, where he's driving around with the kids and he's like, you know what, the hardest thing for a Mexican Chicano or someone here that lives in the United States is to be Mexican American because, one, you're too white for the Mexicans, and then you're too Mexican for the white people. So you're stuck in the middle. Yeah. So that, if anything, that's what I faced the hardest.
Yeah.
Even to this day,
Yeah.
people find out like, oh, you went to Aptos? Whitewash. It's like, well, what does that mean?
Yeah.
It's like, oh, well, your Spanish is broken up and this and that, and your ideals. Like, no. So I was given an opportunity to go there to play sports.
Yeah.
Because I feel like if I didn't go there and I play sports, I probably would have been something else, I learned a little bit different. I learned a little bit, maybe more, maybe less, right? But given the opportunity that I was given, I made the best that I did with it, And so, like I said, to this day, I still get that whitewashed, you're not this, you're not that. And it's like, I'm just me, I try to just be the best that I can.
Yeah.
And
I care to hear all the things because I hear it all the time.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I can see how it could suck.
Yeah.
Because when I lived ahí in Appleton, behind Apple Hills, a lot of my friends went to Aptos, and most of them would always get suspended because they would always fight.
Mm-hmm.
And it was always because of that, because white kids listen algo and they would have to fight. And there were some kids who were Mexican, but they only spoke English.
Mm-hmm.
And I used, when we were playing basketball, they decían whitewash, and you hear all those terms. So I can see how.
Yeah. Yeah, and it's crazy because, like, every family is different, right?
Yeah.
I've heard of stories where, like, we got first generations,
Yeah.
and they don't teach their kids Spanish.
Yeah.
For whatever reason. It's not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
Or you have kids that, like, I did go to school with some people who were just like they were Mexican.
Yeah.
But they didn't like that they were Mexican.
Yeah.
They're like, oh, I'm in America and this and this
Yeah.
and that. It's like, that's kind of wrong, But I always prided myself in just getting to know the person as a character, your character.
Yeah.
Right. And trying not to judge based on, skin color, ethnicity background, economic background. If you're a good person, you're a good person. If you're a shitty person, you're a shitty person. I'm going to treat you accordingly.
Yeah.
And if I associate with you or not, then.
Yeah. I think for the now kids use the word no sabo.
Mm-hmm.
That's like the new term for saying like you're whitewashed, like no sabo kid.
Yeah.
But it's not their fault that they didn't learn Spanish,
Mm-hmm.
I wish I grew up learning English, speaking English. It would be so much easier for me growing up. But
I mean, Spanish was my first language too.
Yeah.
And I remember I went to Alianza when Alianza was all Spanish.
Yeah.
All Spanish. I remember that, you know. But I think, you know, my dad wanted me to learn, you know, and to adapt to my surrounding areas, you know, because he wanted, like every parent, right, want better for their kids.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that was his version of trying to make better for me, you know, putting me out there.
Yeah.
Plus, you know, sports were a little bit better, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, that was my growing up right there.
Damn. Kind of. I had similar. Even it's crazy. Even if I think I speak the best Spanish or the whatever, even here, if I were to go to Mexico, like we're all used to it. They say, no, este viene del norte.
Yeah.
Oh, I viene un pochito. Like even allá, they'll still make fun of you. Even though you can be the most Mexican kid here in aquí, if you're born here, but you still think you're like the most Mexican guy. You go to Mexico, you're not that Mexican when you're over there.
Yeah.
Like, ¿tú qué? Tú eres pocho. Tú eres de allá. Tú eres del norte.
Yeah.
You're like, no. So then after a while, you just stop fighting it and you're just like,
You
it is what it is.
Yeah,
it is what it is. I can't fight that. Like, yeah, I'm born over here.
Because there's some, I mean, Spanish from up here is different than Mexico Spanish.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, 100%. Like,
Yeah.
even like when I went to school, you know, Cabrillo, you take some classes. You
Yeah.
just take some Spanish classes to fill in some credits.
Uh-huh.
And you're learning all these words. It's like, wait a second. That's not a...
That's not how you say it.
That's not how you say it. That's not a coche. It's carro.
You say parquear.
Es una pluma. Escribo con una pluma. No, es bolígrafo.
Yeah.
So like, and then when a couple times that I've gone to Mexico, like, yeah, sure enough, like those words, and it's like, oh crap. Yeah. You know.
To this day, my girlfriend corrects me on everything because she has really good Spanish, and I still have like Rancho Mexican Spanish.
Yeah.
So I'll say some things. She'll be like, "That's not how you say it. How do you say it?" And I have to like Google it, and I'm like, "Damn, you're right."
Yeah. Right.
She's always right.
Yeah.
I always lose. So at this point, I stop kind of like.
You're right. You're right.
You're right. I'm saying it so.
Yeah.
Pinche de rancho, you know. Yeah.
So yeah. Diving back into your art. One of the things that you had mentioned, because you did the Arte de Corazon art gallery earlier this year, and you put a piece out and display, and we had a panel, and we kind of talked about kind of similar culture and everything, and you talked about how you didn't know if you wanted to be an artist, like you were afraid, right, to put your stuff out there, and you took the leap of faith, right? Talk about that leap of, you know what, putting my art out and being visible and seen.
Well, anybody knows that when you paint, even you can be the greatest painter, but if you have insecurities, you're afraid to show your art to anybody.
Yeah.
So sometimes I paint and I have things, and then before I used to post, and I'm like, I can't post this. People are gonna say, like, they're gonna say it's whack, or it's okay, or like just like put me down. And I know if once I put it up and they put me down, I'm gonna stop doing it. But sometimes I got to a point where I did stuff and I really, really liked it, and I went to the mind like, if they don't like it, well, I like it. It's my thing, you know. So I posted up, and for the most part, it was all good feedback. But I can see why it could be hard to put yourself out there. There's times where I post a video of me like cutting something or drilling something. It's stuff that's out of my, like, yes, we all know how to use a drill. Yes, we all know how to use a saw, but we're not professionals.
Yeah.
But even those videos, you get like, that's not how you grab a saw.
All these hecklers online
or
and everything.
or it could be from the gym. You'll post a movement. That's not how you do it, and you're like, oh, can't do anything wrong. So sometimes I think that's why people don't really post anymore, because it can be embarrassing. So imagine like you're trying to do your best, and you post your videos of you doing stairs or cardio, and you're like, get away, like that's it. Only 20 miles. You can't do 30. And you're like, fuck, he's right. Who am I? You know?
Yeah.
So, and for art, it's more embarrassing because you're putting yourself out there to show like, look, this is my talent, for somebody to go, you know. So imagine you get that reaction and you just feel shitty.
Oh yeah.
And then it might kind of question like, should I keep doing this? But luckily for me, I have a great friend sister. I have a lot of friends, and most of my all my friends support me. They're like, I think if it wasn't for my friends, I wouldn't be where I'm at. So I think mostly my friends, my girlfriends, my family, todos me hacen support.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm like, do you guys really like this, or are you just saying that because you like me? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think they like it. You know,
Hmm.
some of my friends have my paintings in their walls, and I'm like, I guess he likes it. He likes
Yeah.
it. He wouldn't put it up in his wall, right? Or would he? Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So if it wasn't for my friends, dándome alas, I don't think I would be painting. You know,
Mhm.
but because of them, I have a little bit of momentum going, and every time I'm just trying my best. I'm constantly on YouTube, on TikTok, watching videos of how to perform, get better at my craft,
Mhm.
like picking up this style. I have a lot of friends who are in the art game for a long time, and they'll message me and they'll be critical, and I take their criticism really really well, because there's somebody who's been doing it for 20 plus years. You
Yeah.
know, like if my friend Pepe, he has a tattoo shop here in town. Me manda un mensaje like, algo así. Me and Pepe did a mural for Frijolito,
Mhm.
and we did it together. But for the most part, I took it more like I was learning from him because he's been doing this for so long.
Yeah.
So I took a lot of information out of him. Like he would do everything so simple. Something that he did in one hit, it would take me like 9 hits to create that.
Yeah.
He did it with one, and he would show me so many things I didn't know how to use. I was using the same brush. He's like, no, this brush is for this brush is for that. So when it's people like that have been in the game for so long, I take as much as I can from them.
Yeah.
I just pick their brains.
And how do you set your ego aside for that? Because you're torn between, right, criticism
Uh huh.
online or whatever, right, and you're just like it could deter anyone, right,
Yeah.
at any moment, man. It could be like, all right, I'm done,
Yeah.
you know. But then you get you need criticism to build and grow.
Yeah.
And so, how do you set your ego aside to like receive that?
Yeah.
And
I think it depends. Como like Pepe, my friend Ugly Eye, like people like this who kind of like we grew up the same. We like the same styles. We're in the same kind of world, so their criticism will be solid. But if somebody who did like realism and like something very really high advanced, they would just criticize the shit out of me because I don't do realism and it doesn't look clean. So I can take his advice, but we're not even the same world. Es como que Charino Sanchez le dé advice a Korn. Like they're music, but they're just different.
different worlds, yeah.
Like there's people that can't listen to certain things, but I love the way it sounds. Or some people like corridos tumbados, but I can't listen to that. It's just different ears. Same with paint, it's different eyes. So when it comes to people that are in the same genre as me, I take as much as I can. But the other people that give me advice, I still hear it out, because even though we don't do the same thing, they still have a lot of in the game, you know. Pero when it comes to egos, like say I have that friend who doesn't paint and me that advice, I'm like, bro, tú no pintas,
Yeah, yeah.
tú qué traes, you know?
Yeah.
But when it comes to people that have done it for a while, or even just do it, I do hear them out. Because sometimes they'll say, and I'm like, I was thinking that too. I should have done that too. You know? So sometimes it's cool to have people like that to give you advice, tips, or criticism, or just mainly tips.
And how did it feel when you had your art here at Arte de Corazon? Was this your first time putting your art publicly displayed?
The first time that I displayed my art was in 2023 in Cinco de Mayo. I did it at Fruition.
Okay.
And I did a whole display. Mostly when I do my art, I think what makes my art cool is that I do installation. So I had my paintings up. I ran a cord across the room with Cortezes hanging. I had TVs with VHS. I had TVs with like La Bamba playing. So there's like a lot of mixture of nostalgia with painting. So it could be un cuadro de una virgen, but then I'll build a whole bedroom around it.
Okay.
So when you walk in, you're like, oh, there's a bedroom. And then you're like, oh, I had that lamp when I was little. Oh, I had that cobija when I was little. Oh, there's a painting. So, because honestly, I feel like for the most part, people who like art, when they go to museums, they just kind of walk, cool, 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 and they just kind of walking by.
Yeah.
Not a lot of people are like gonna like, oh,
Pay attention, and
yeah.
but it seems like what you're describing is like you're telling a story.
Yeah. So I want them to stick for the long.
Yeah.
Oh, if the painting didn't get them, the bed will get them. If the bed didn't get them, the lamp will get them. Something in that room that I created for them is gonna jump out to them. But if I just do a painting, for the most part, I feel like people are just gonna
Yeah.
done. But if you create an isolation around the painting, it's gonna attract people more. And when they leave, like I did a painting, I already even blocked it. But I had a painting and I already smeared it. I do that a lot where I have a painting and then I don't have a canvas, and I just sacrifice it and I do something else. But I did this painting where I had this guy kind of like this, and it looks like he's in prison, and I built him like a cage, like he's in jail, and I put a candle, and I put a rosario, and I put a chair, so when you walked up to it, it looked like you're visiting somebody in jail. So I gave it a whole feeling. So when you walked in, anybody who has somebody in jail or been to jail to visit somebody, they can feel that like they were visiting somebody. So I like to put people in a setting. I want them to feel something, for the most part. I try, but that's kind of my style.
Yeah. No, that's cool, because when I saw that that painting,
Oh, this one, the prisoner one.
the prisoner one,
Yeah.
it made me feel some type of way, you know. It didn't feel like it was just regular art,
Yeah.
right? Like you said, like art when it speaks to you, it means something, right?
Yeah.
And maybe I had someone incarcerated, so that made me feel a certain way for that. But I like that you're trying to catch the attention by emotion.
Yeah.
You're trying to tell a story.
Yeah.
And I think that separates a good artist from just a regular artist.
Thank you.
So I do appreciate that. How did it feel to have your art out for the first time? I mean, it's public.
It was cool. I graduated in 06, and a lot of my friends from high school came out that I hadn't seen in a while, because they have families and life goes on, right? But most of my friends that I hanged out with in high school all showed up, and even though I know they might be not into art, they were there for me, so that spoke volume to me. I had a friend from San Diego, Rooster. He came all the way just to make it, and a lot of friends made it from all over, So it was really cool for them to go out of their way to come and see an art show.
Yeah.
No. And then with the brand, like all my friends have it. Like it's so cool for them to be able to rep it.
Yeah.
Or I'm walking and I see somebody wearing the shirt, seeing my art on the shirt, and it feels really good.
Yeah. Well, let's get into that brand. Tell us your brand. When did you start it? When was the launch date? And tell us about your brand.
In May 2023, Cinco de Mayo, I had the first art show. And when I did the art show, I only had prints of that piece. I only made limited pieces for prints. And everybody's like, you should have made clothes. And I'm like, I'm still working on it, because I didn't know what to name the brand or anything. And during that time, before that happened, I was laid off from my job because work was really slow. And my grandma has always told me that she wanted a Virgin Mary in her house. And every year, when are you going to go to Mex? I hadn't gone to Mex for like 3 years. When are you going to go to Mex? So you can pinte la Virgen. ¿Cuándo vas a ir? ¿Cuándo vas a ir? ¿Cuándo vas a ir? The moment I got laid off, the next day I got my flight and I left to Mexico. I was in Mexico for like a month and a half. Like I took it as like, I'm going to get unemployment. I'm just going to go out there and just kind of like reset.
Yeah.
Because I don't know. In my show, the Cinco de Mayo was going to be like 2 months away. So I went over there, and then I finally did La Virgen for my grandma. I painted it and everything. She was at church when she came back. We took a picture for the one I posted of me and her. And then after we took the picture, my aunt's like, hey, can you take your grandma to the cemetery? I'm like, yeah, I can take her to the cemetery. So I took her to the cemetery. We're setting flowers for my grandpa. He passed away in 76 when my mom was like 6 years old or 8 years old. And so we're cleaning his grave and stuff. And then I see it, and it just says on the tombstone Rosario, which is my grandpa's name. And then I saw it, and it just, when graffiti is like the R, the O, the S, the A in the middle, it's just so perfect. And then I started to feel some type of way. And then I looked at my hand, and I have a rosary in my hand. And that's what's going to be, the name of the brand is Rosario, and then my logo is going to be a rosary. So it goes hand in hand. So when you see it, Rosario means rosary, and so on. And the first piece that I did was a Virgin Mary, because if I wouldn't have done that piece for my grandma, the day that I finished it and then the most interesting part, when I'm cleaning his tombstone, I look at the day he passed away, and that was his anniversary. So the day that I finished the Virgin Mary was the day he passed away.
Wow.
And it was just like so real, right? So I went home, got a napkin at my grandma's house, and I drew the logo, like very simple, wrote the name, A couple weeks later, I flew back. I talked to my friend Tony. Because Tony does all my stuff. He owns Still Screeners, and because of him, like the brand wouldn't be where it's at. He
Yeah.
does most of my designs. Like I draw them, but he cleans them up for me.
Yeah, yeah.
Like I just have an idea, you know. So I went with Tony. We did some shirts, and I was able to do the brand, and I released it in July 21st at the Appleton. That was Buena Vista's original location
Uh huh.
before they moved to their airport location. But I did my first event at the Appleton,
Yeah.
and I released my shirt. It was 2 shirts and 2 sweaters, and that's when I did the lowrider cart, and I sold out like in an hour. It was a good feeling, you know. And now I've been having the brand for 2 years, so constantly like adding colors. I wish I could do different designs. It's just that people keep going back to that Virgin Mary,
Uh huh.
and I love the design, and I try not to make so many colors out of it. I keep it to the regular, like the black, the gray, the brown,
Yeah, simple.
simple colors, and so I'm trying to create like a different line, like this line, and like more like a because I'm a big into the gym.
Yeah.
So a gym one and like a streetwear one, you know. So I'm trying to like make divisions and lines for my brand, but for the most part, I see it at the gym. I see I'm family parties. I see it in the street. I go to the meal. I see it, and it feels really good to see my brand, especially because the name they have on their back, it's my grandpa's name.
Yeah.
So my mom loves it. My grandma loves it. Everybody loves it. So it's a cool feeling to be able to make a brand out of your grandfather's name.
Yeah. No, that's freaking that's amazing. You know that on the anniversary that you finish it
Yeah,
and you see the name and it just kind of hits you.
yeah.
It's just you can't.
It
Right.
was weird, and I knew it was like those movie feelings, like really
Uh-huh.
corny. I was like, oh, like when you like in the Charlie's Factory, like you want to run home and
Yeah, yeah.
because you got the golden ticket.
Yeah.
I wanted to go home.
Like you can't script it any better.
Yeah,
You know.
and I wish I could do more with the brand, but it's a lot of expenses when it comes to the brand, and especially when I was now I work, so I'm fine. But when you're like just like personal training here and there, and trying to create a brand, and the volume is so high that people are requesting,
Yeah.
they don't understand that most of the time. Yes, I can get all this other stuff, but I have other things in my life that I have to pay off, and there's a lot of things that build up. So I do what I can when it comes to the brand and get into people's needs to get
Yeah.
the brand to their hand, you know.
Well, how do you balance that? Because, like you said, like it's a high demand.
Yeah,
You know, you have to balance, your artist life, your personal life.
Yeah.
You know, gym is going to the gym and exercise is a big part of who you are,
yeah,
right? Because it keeps you sane.
yeah.
How do you balance everything? Because it's like the demand is high. The demand is high.
For the most part, I think if it was like a couple years ago, I would have lost it.
Yeah.
But luckily, my girlfriend just keeps me kind of aligned and helps me with everything. Like I started to pick up photography, so I do all my photography, but my girlfriend does all the styling. She helps me with everything. And if I do videography, she does all the movements. She models for the brand. She helps me when it comes to when I get all the packages to write people's names to ship them out. She helps me with everything. So it's really good to have a good partner that's gonna help me build the brand, you know. And sometimes when you're creative, you can be kind of like perfectionist.
Yeah.
So I think I'm still like that sometimes, but I think she's
Balances.
yeah, like
Yeah.
hey, like you work differently. I work like this. I'm like, oh, okay, you're right.
Yeah.
But for the most part, I think because of her, I'm able to create more stuff. And then I have a second. We like the same music. We like the same food. We like everything the same. Obviously not 100%, but for the most part, we like everything.
Yeah.
So when it comes to me creating, I show her and I'm like, what do you think? Maybe it should be a little bit bigger. Maybe you should go with a darker brown.
Mm.
Maybe you should go with this. And I'm like, and I'll do it. Like you were right. Or if she wasn't, we'll go back to this one, and we'll just kind of figure it out until we find a good balance.
Yeah.
So because of her, I do a lot with the brand,
That's good.
and I expect to make more, because now we're pregnant, so we're gonna have a baby soon. So now we're thinking of like I have so many orders that I have to fulfill, but I'm already thinking of all the kid stuff I want to make.
The baby line.
The baby line. You know, I
Yeah.
already have so many designs for baby stuff, but I want to give babies like 90s. I want them to be kids. I don't want them to be adults.
Yeah.
Yes, I want them to look. I'm not gonna like just butcher them, but I want them to look like kids.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I want them to like with the sweater, the sweats, the beanie, the matching socks, the the things that we grew up with, you know.
Yeah.
And now that we went to this lot in the flea market here in Watsimo, and I got like stacks of baby clothes. I got overalls, I got shirts from the '90s and Mickey Mouses and
Yeah.
Barneys, and I see all these colors and they're so vibrant. And I'm like, when I make a kid brand, I want to make it like this.
Yeah.
I want a kid to look like a kid.
Yeah.
So we're excited for that. So we don't know what we're gonna have yet, but we're happy for both. But we choose, whatever we get, I want to just go full on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How has that changed your mindset as an artist when you come and you put brush to paper or pen to paper? Has that altered your art in a positive way?
Lately, I haven't been had a chance to paint because I work from like 6 to 5, and then I was teaching at Rolling Hills, and then I still have to make time to go to the gym, and I still have time to hang out with my girlfriend. So it's a good balance right now that I have.
Mm-hmm.
So eventually, I know from this it's gonna build to ideas that I can, because sometimes to create a painting you have to live your life,
Yeah.
and then from those experiences you can create a painting. So I know once the time is right. I'm the type of guy, if I sit down and I start painting, I'll finish it in a day.
Yeah.
Because I'm just like,
Mm-hmm.
it's here. It's like, I guess when people write music,
Yeah.
It
And then when it comes, it flows. You
it's
just
just
jump
there.
on
You
it.
know?
Yeah.
So right now I'm just more focusing on making sure she's okay, the baby's okay, and then that I'm getting my mental health, that I'm working and money's coming in, and the brand right now is just, I'm kind of having it just on a hold right now.
Yeah.
But I'm still ordering, but I'm not taking as much pictures as I want to.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not shooting as much content as I want to. So a lot of things that I can't because I have very limited time. Right now, my priorities are more having money for the family and stuff like this.
So that leads me to what I want to ask too is like, how does David stay sane?
The gym, the gym. Right now, I went to the gym before I came here, and I worked out with my friend John, and he's like, I was like, you want to hit legs? I have like smaller time. So when I tell people I'm going to hit legs for like a smaller time, that means in 20, 30 minutes, it's going to be hell. And it was my own workout, and I killed myself. I couldn't, with that when I left, I had to go lay outside, crash. I went to eat food. I still couldn't wake up.
Yeah.
Right before I came, I chugged like 2 Gatorades because I felt like I just got ran over by a car.
Dang.
Yeah, because John is a great partner to work with, and we went ham. Like,
Dang.
right now I'm feeling it. 2 days I'm gonna be dying. I'm gonna be in a wheelchair.
It always hits you like the second day.
Yeah.
It's like you're good right now. You're a little sore, tired, but like by that second day, it's like, oh no.
But stuff like that is what keeps me in check. Like when I really push myself and I work out.
Yeah.
Like if I just go and I just kind of like go with the motions, like yeah, I'm moving. But if like you're with somebody's gonna push you and you're pushing each other, when you leave there, like you feel so like, it's like tattoos for me as well. Like you can have something in your mind and be thinking about it all day, but when you're getting tatted, it's like a therapy in a sense for me. Like you're getting tatted, and at that moment you're still thinking of the thing you're thinking about. So when you're getting tatted, you don't feel it.
Mm-hmm.
But after the 3-hour mark, you forget what you're thinking about because you thought about it so many times in your head, and you're like, what the hell's happening to my hand? Why am I getting tatted?
Yeah.
And then that's when the tat starts to hurt, you know?
Yeah.
So sometimes like stuff like that, putting your body in some sort of like situation where it's in trouble, it kind of just blocks everything out of your mind.
Yeah.
So when I go to the gym and I come back home, I feel like, what happened today? Like I just kind of like free. I'm free for a minute.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So hitting the gym.
Como dice Toretto, for 10 seconds I'm gone.
10 seconds.
And they'll stand for you know? So it's kind of like that.
Yeah. So you hit the gym, you go to the gym frequently to kind of keep you sane, keep you kind of grounded and everything. Have you always been like gym goer, or just kind of like it just happened one day where you're just like, hey, I'm going to go to the gym? Or
I played football in high school. So I've been lifting since I was in high school. And then, but when I tell kids at the gym, like I power lift, so my lifts are pretty big.
Yeah.
So people are like, how can I deadlift 600 pounds? How can I deadlift 700 pounds? And you could. It just takes a lot of time. They think they're going to deadlift 600 pounds in 2 months. I'm like, bro, it took me forever. You know, the first time I picked up 500 pounds was when I was 21, and I got there fast. But then the next year, I messed up my back. And then when I came back to the gym, it was up to me if I wanted to get back on the horse.
Yeah.
And then you get back on, and you get to that 500 mark again. Boom, I'm back. Then you get to 510, and then guess what? You injure your hip.
Oh, yeah.
And then you come back, and then it's totally up to you if you want to keep coming back. So many people that live heavy, they'll tell you, like, when they get injured, they'll either say, "Oh, I don't do that movement because that movement fucked up my back."
Yeah.
And there's the people that keep going, keep getting back, keep getting back. There's gonna come to a point where I injure myself again, and I'll probably will still do it, but not at that.
Yeah.
Not at that level. I'll probably just be doing like the basic
Yeah,
stuff, you
yeah.
know. But for the most part, I've been working out all my life, but like this.
Yeah.
Sometimes I'm working fine and I'm working out good, but sometimes you have to get 2 jobs, and sometimes you have to pay the bills.
Yeah.
But sometimes you're good, and then it just goes like that.
Yeah. It's roller coaster.
It's a roller coaster. Some days you can be shredded in 2024.
Yeah.
2025 and 2026. Guess what? You work 2 jobs and all you can eat is like cup of noodles and all this stuff, and then you get fat, and then you're like, and then you're like making a comeback, and then you make the comeback, and then it happens
something
again.
happens again.
The important thing is that for you to, even if 10 years go by, just
Keep
try,
on going.
keep on coming back,
Yeah.
or whatever your goals are. You know, everybody has different goals.
Yeah.
Obviously, I'm not the biggest guy, but I focus on lifting heavy weight, and I'm not the strongest guy. For my weight, I feel like I do okay.
Yeah.
You know?
I remember I used to do CrossFit back in the day, like 16, 17, 18. And if CrossFit was a great sport for me because, playing football, right?
Yeah.
You always seek that like high intensity workouts, that push, like that pushing yourself to the limit. And I found that in CrossFit.
Yeah.
And so when I started doing CrossFit, oh my gosh, it sucked at first. I sucked at first, but I stuck through it. And there was a point in time in 2017 where my fitness, my cardio, my nutrition were all on point.
Yeah.
All on point, and I was
locked in
like 4 to 5 times a week. I'm eating right, clean. All of a sudden, I get injured at the gym. No, and so I had to recover.
Yeah.
It took me like almost 2-3 months because it was a pretty bad injury.
Yeah.
Come back, my gym closed.
Oh.
And then I ended up moving to a different gym. Same thing. I'm synced up. Back injury knocks me down.
Roller coaster.
Yeah. So I get it. It's like this, right? And so now I'm not synced up, but I'm at a good level.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to build off that.
You're working yourself up.
Yeah. Trying to build on that momentum little by little with the gym.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a roller coaster.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's just how life is.
Yeah.
Right. In general.
A lot of kids in the gym have goals, and we all have goals when we were young, and they're like, I want to be this, I want to be that. And then sometimes you get to that goal, and you're like, that's not what I wanted. I didn't know you had to have 4,000 grams of protein a day or something ridiculous.
Yeah.
And you're like, yeah, dude, it comes with that lifestyle. You want to be that big.
Yeah.
So whatever your goal is, if you want to be, like, have friends who do marathons and stuff like this, and they're killing it. But you tell that to a regular person, hey, let's go run a marathon on a Tuesday. You're like, 26 miles? Let's not do that. I'm thinking 26 minutes, not 26 miles.
Yeah.
So it just depends on what your goal is. And if your goal is to be Ronnie Coleman, Arnold Schwarzenegger, go for it.
Yeah.
Your goal is just to look fit or be healthy, whatever it is, just do it.
Yeah.
It never ends.
Yeah. As long as you just keep on going.
I see some guys, people that motivate me is when I see people at the gym and they're like 60, 70 and they're still kind of like, I'm like, whoa, it kind of keeps you going.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, okay, I can look like that when I'm 60 or 70. So I like that.
Yeah, little by little. I want to talk really quick. One, kind of backtrack a little bit to your art. What's your favorite piece?
The prisoner.
The prisoner one.
Yeah,
that's your favorite piece.
Just because that painting is actually, I can't remember her name right now, but it's a photographer from Mexico, and she took that picture of an inmate. I have the name on the post. I have her name of the original photographer who took that picture, and it's a prisoner, but he has a Virgin Mary in his back, and then when I did it, I have a Virgin Mary in my back, and on his arms I added the D, the Z, like how I have it. A lot of my tattoos, they're on his piece as well. So I added a little bit of me to him. I have my hair slicked back, so a lot of my tattoos were like his, and then the gold frame was my mom's painting that I just blasted over.
Yeah.
And then I did it very like colorful. So in a sense, I wanted it to look like it's beautiful. So when I did the piece, I put a mesh because I work at roofing, and I got this mesh from like framing, and I threw this mesh over it to look like he's in prison.
Yeah.
So it's como te dije, la song de Los Tigres del Norte, Una Jaula de Oro. So even though he's locked up and it's beautiful in there, it doesn't matter how beautiful and gold that cage is, he's still locked up.
Yeah.
So he can't see his loved ones. He can't see anything. So the painting from far away can look really, really beautiful because there's greens, there's reds. But then when you get close to it and you see the cage, you see how the gold is chipping off. That gold eventually is going to chip off.
Yeah.
And you're locked in for life.
Yeah.
So I like that piece. It's just more like a metaphorical piece for myself, and more that I added stuff from my body to the painting, so it kind of like resembles a little bit of how I felt when I made that painting.
Yeah, that's dope. That's dope. Have you sold it?
No, I've had offers, but for me, like I have a piece at Slice Project Pizza, and another one at my friend's location. I have some at the gym. I want my paintings to be in locations where they can be seen, and I don't want them to be like in some garage or some man cave, or you know what I mean. Even if like the price was not even if it was free, and they told me like, say like Cheech Marion hit me up that he wants his piece on his museum, I will give it for free. If it's gonna be in a place where it can be displayed, and then that way people are gonna see my name and then they're gonna see me como. That's the way I do it. So like my name is David Zamora. I have the brand Rosario Attire, and then I also have murals at the gym. So when people go to the gym, you're like, oh, the whole gym is covered in murals. You're like, you did all those paintings? I'm like, yeah. I did a shirt for the gym, and it has like the gym brand, and you're the guy who did the gym. I was like, yeah, that's me. And then I have all these stickers that I give out, and they're like, you're the guy from the stickers, you're the guy from the brand, you're the painter. I did a beer for Buena Vista Brewery. I did a luchador. They have it in stock right now, and I did the whole painting of a luchador. It was originally el blue demon, but le pinté la máscara brown to be more like Chicano, and so now I have my own beer. So there's like so many identities. It's kind of like graffiti when you put your name on the wall, and you're like, you're the same guy, you're the same guy, you're the same guy. So I want my things to be all over, to kind of reach other audiences. So if my painting can be in a place where it can be seen by like 20, 30 people a day, that's 20, 30 people that I don't know. And maybe they can find me on social media, and somehow they can just follow me and like see what I'm creating, and maybe they like what I do, and then it can open doors for me. Yeah, so that's my goal, is just if it were to land somewhere where it can be seen. I just want my art to be seen.
No, I understand that. David, where do you see yourself? Well, this is kind of a loaded question, right? You got David Zamora, the artist, the brand, and then you got the person. Where do you see yourself in 5 years in each aspect in your life? Or what direction do you see yourself going?
Honestly, I don't know how far the brand can go, or how far I can take my paintings and stuff like that. Mostly, I just want to make sure that I'm a good father, and that I'm giving him motivation to maybe he or she can be better than me. So that's kind of like my main goal. For me, I kind of go as it is. Like, I freestyle my life. Like, sometimes people are like, hey, you want to do this? And I just like, I freestyle. I don't know what I'm doing, but I try my best. But when I have a little version of me, I want him to have as much information he can take. Because everything that I'm learning is like off YouTube, off friends, and so on. So I'm going at this pace. But if I were to if I was younger and I had a mentor that can be pushing me and helping me get to a higher level faster, I don't know how far we could have gone if we had that mentorship, you know? Like if we had a father figure, or an uncle, or a friend who was in the industry, then do it like this, do it like that, do it like this. I think a lot of us could go higher, or the influence. So my main goal is for my child to be better. As far as me, I wish I can just be at peace and have my family and just do what I love, which is creating my brand, and just keep creating content and stuff like that. But as far as 5 years, that's mostly what I think about. I wish I can say I can have mansion, cars, stuff like this. I wish I had a pool. I wish I had a side view and all these cool things. But I have to be realistic and just know how fast I'm going. I can't wish for mansions. I can't wish. We all wish we had Ferraris and all this stuff.
Yeah, we want to be well off. We want to
Yeah.
be good, you know, financially stable.
Me, I'm like family blue healer, maybe get a red healer, and then that's I'm golden right now. I'm solid, or maybe a bench press on my house. Being really realistic.
Yeah.
I can't wish for the Jaguar, fucking Ferrari, something a Bentley. Maybe I could get it. You know, if with this mindset, somebody can hear him be like, "Oh, you're never gonna get a Bentley with that mindset." Well, maybe because I don't like Bentleys. I like lowriders. You know, if I see a Bentley, I don't really get excited. But if I see a '65 Impala driving by, best believe I take out my phone and a fangirl. Or even I'd rather take pictures of an Integra than a Bentley.
Yeah, yeah.
But that's just me.
Yeah.
I'm the crazy one for saying that. Huh? Pero I just Integras or even like a 240 and a 240 a Skyline. All those cars are for me. They're more attracting than a Bentley or a Ferrari.
Yeah.
Bentley's Ferraris are beautiful cars, pero they don't mean anything to me.
Classic cars.
Yeah.
That's where it's at. Yeah. No, I hear that. Yeah, it's shoot. What was it 1967? What's that car from Training Day that Denzel Washington has?
Well, that's Monte Carlo.
Monte Carlo, 1967 Monte Carlo. That's all I want.
Yeah, I mean, that's like the Regal, the Monte Carlo, the all those cars that have that same cut. They're beautiful.
Yeah.
There's one in town, and I seen it, and every time I see it, I'm like, oh.
Monte Carlo?
Yeah, there's one in town, the black one. I don't know who drives it.
Ooh, I know who.
It is like by Rolling Hills over here.
Oh, okay.
But it's a beautiful car.
Yeah.
And when I see it, the black one, when I see it, I'm like, oh, how does it feel to live my life? I don't even know how his life is, but having that, I feel like it's.
You're borrowing it for right now.
Yeah, like those cars are beautiful.
Oh yeah, very gorgeous.
And I go back to cars just because it's the same thing as nostalgia. And the older we get, I think a little piece of us never leaves.
Yeah,
like, we're still gonna love those cars no matter what, you know, and just the way it is.
Yeah,
yeah.
I remember. We come to the part of the show at the end where I ask all my guests if you could leave one piece of advice. It could be a phrase, it could be a word, it could be a saying, quote. But for those who are watching, what is your piece of advice? What do you leave people with?
I look at the camera.
Oh, serious? The music, the lights taking down.
No, I think I just do what you love. Sometimes it took me a long time to do what I used to love. And even the way you dress, the way you like to dress, don't follow trends. Follow your own wavelength. Like everybody wants to do what everybody else is doing. Just dress how you like to dress. Play the music you want to hear. Post whatever you want to post. I know it sucks. People will criticize it, but just do you, and al rato people are gonna want to be like you.
Yeah.
So sometimes I dress to the gym looking like a homeless guy. And it's just the way I feel comfortable, So just do you, and if you like it, I'm sure your friend will like it, and I'm sure another friend will like it. And al rato son 5, y al rato son 5,000, al rato son 5 million.
Yeah.
So just do what you like, and just, even if somebody makes fun of you, who cares? You're insecure. Just say that.
Yeah. Set the trends. Don't follow them.
Yeah, don't follow trends. Just do your own thing,
Yeah. What's that big old trend that's going on right now? Little stuffed animal.
Oh, the little boo-boos?
The boo-boos. That's
I saw that and I was like, you know what? I get it, But I don't get it. But I get it,
Yeah.
Like, imagine me going, like, people who are into Pokemon, and, like, somebody had a Pikachu, and my dad was like, neta, un monito amarillo. And you're like, it's Pikachu, Dad.
I know.
Like, you can't, so you have to put yourself in that situation. Like, you can't make fun of people liking those, because people had Pikachus.
Yeah.
Like,
all the trading cards, and we were called.
And not making fun of Pikachu, but sabes como, like, it's just like a cool, like, Pikachu has powers, bro.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. My dad would be like, all right,
kid.
Yeah. So yeah.
No. David, thanks a lot for coming by, stopping
for
by. I appreciate it. Where can people find you?
DC2 Rebel is my personal Instagram, and you can see my clothing line at Rosario Attire.
There you go. You guys saw it here. Go buy some shirts. This is the plug right here. But David, again, thanks a lot for coming, stopping by.
Thank you, brother.
Opening up season 3.
Yeah.
So, guys, make sure you guys check out the rest of the season. And got some great guests coming out. David Zamora, artist, brand, future father. Congratulations
Thank you,
again.
brother. Thank you.
So, catch you guys on the next one. God bless.
See ya.